So good evening, and just settle yourselves down gently for me, wherever you are, lying or sitting, and just take a moment to let your body soften as best you can, wherever you are, and just focus the attention gently on the breath. And just take a few moments feeling the cool air coming into the nose and the warmer air as it leaves again. And I'd like to invite you to just take a moment here, in this moment, simply breathing. So just appreciate the journey of the year that it's been for you personally and been for us all as a wider collective. And just take a moment, if you can, to feel some gratitude for the fact that you've made it through this year, however you've done it, and whether you wish you'd done certain things better or whether you feel you've handled yourself completely faultlessly. Doesn't really matter. Just be grateful for the fact that you have continued your journey through this time, this incredibly challenging time for all of us. And just be kind about yourself and how you've managed that. And know that it's okay to allow feelings of uncertainty, of discomfort and fear. We don't have to pretend to be strong. And often this sort of pretense that we are okay, that we are impenetrable fortresses or rocks, bastions for others, just brings us deep discomfort, deep suffering. So just find moments to allow yourself to honestly acknowledge the feelings and what's going on. Just take a moment and sit with it as best you can. Let it be. Acknowledge it with kindness. And if possible, befriend it. And this might sound a little strange, paradoxical. But love does conquer fear and uncertainty. And befriending and offering kindness to our uncertainty and to our less favorable emotions is really a freeing way of moving forward with our lives. So in honor of the end of year, tonight will be a bit of a slower evening. I'm going to take some longer pauses for you to allow you to explore the openness of your own mind. And we're going to focus on the body and we're going to focus on the breath tonight. So just bringing the focus back again to the breath. Gently in, gently out. And take a moment to feel the breath wherever it is most keenly for you, wherever it feels most clear. And perhaps that's the tip of the nose, or the belly, or the chest, or perhaps somewhere else. No right or wrong experience here, just your experience in the moment. So just gently and kindly explore the experience of breathing, wherever it's clearest for you now. Really open to the raw sensations that are happening. Perhaps the flaring of the nostrils, Perhaps feeling the tiny movements of the muscles across the cheeks. Feeling the change of pressure on the body as you take air in and gently release it again. Seeking to imagine your experience, but simply resting with open awareness to how it really is. If you happen to find you've been distracted by the shopping list of your mind, it's quite normal. And again, just see if you can be kind to that event, that experience. Be compassionate to yourself and the mind that's only doing what the mind does. It creates thoughts. And so just note the thought. And just note out of curiosity whether it was pleasant or unpleasant or simply okay. And then just gently bring the focus back to the breath and begin again. Notice perhaps whether there's a sense of anticipating the breath or leaning into it, or whether there's any pressure to change the breath because you're focusing on it, whether there's any temptation to breathe more slowly or more fully. And if you find any of those, again, just simply noting them with curiosity and kindness, nothing more. There's no need to judge the experience. Simply an invitation to notice it. Noticing the tendencies of the mind. If you've settled on a particular area of the breath, see if you can allow yourself to be even more open to the experience. Again, not imagining what isn't there, not creating something because you think you should find it, but just resting wide open with the raw experience and the sensations. Feeling deeply for the experience that is there to be found. And perhaps you might be more aware of the ribs moving around the body, perhaps across the back, perhaps subtle movements in the armpits and the shoulders. Perhaps there's experience in the neck or the throat. And there is no right or wrong experience. There's no merit badges for noticing more, simply for being aware of your experience. If you find you've been distracted by thoughts, simply note the thoughts. Where was it taking you? Was it a pleasant thought or an unpleasant thought? Or simply okay? And then gently bring the focus back to the breath and begin again. You can always begin again with a single breath. I would invite you to just loosen your grip on the focus of the breath. Bring your awareness and your attention to the experience in the hands as they rest on the body or a cushion beside you. Open as best you can to the simple raw experience of the hands. The experience of pressure, pattern of air across the skin, the texture of any fabric. Warmth and coolness, tingling or numbness. Not imagining the experience. It doesn't need to be any way in particular. Just the way it is right now in this moment. And see if the felt experience in one hand is stronger than the other. Or perhaps the felt experience in both hands feels identical. There's no right or wrong. There's no conclusion you're looking to reach. Simply resting with open awareness to what is. Feel the gentle pulse in the fingers and the hands, or perhaps not. Perhaps you can feel the change of experience as you breathe. Seeing if there's a sense of security, simple openness to the experience of the hands. Is sitting with the experience of the hands a pleasant experience or unpleasant? Simply observing what is, how it is. Not trying to change it, not looking to make it what you feel it ought to be. Just bringing curiosity to whatever you find, befriending whatever you find, just as best you can. Think if you can move the sense of awareness around the hands, experiencing more deeply the backs of the hands and the knuckles, perhaps, the palms, the digits. Is there awareness of the space between the fingers? Seeing if you can feel the experience within the hands, as well as outside. If you find yourself lost in thought, just gently bring it back to the experience of the hands. Bringing a sense of lightness to the noticing of the distraction if you can. Now seeing if you can bring the experience of the breath to the experience of the hands. Seeing if you can hold the breath in the background and the hands in the foreground. Breathing with the hands. Allowing, if possible, some gratitude for the skill and the dexterity of your hands, for all that you take them for granted for, everything in life that they support you with. Now just gently letting go of the experience of the hands and allowing your attention to rest in the experience and the sensations of the feet. Another one of the anchors that we can come back to settle us, to ground us, to bring us back to the moment, and to help free us from the trap of our thoughts. So just take a moment now to explore the raw sensations and experience of the feet. Again, is the experience of one foot clearer, more vivid than the other right now? Allowing yourself to be open to the raw patterns of energy just as best you can. The pressure, temperature, tingling or numbness. or perhaps not much to feel at all. And if that's the experience, then just resting with that, accepting that experience as valid as any other. Open to the sensations inside the foot, as well as around it. Feeling of toes, the arches, the heels, the instep, sole of the foot. Now seeing if you can breathe with the experience of the feet. Allowing the experience of the breath in the background, perhaps the experience of the feet in the foreground, just as best you can. And again, perhaps, if possible, just being grateful for your feet, even if they're sore and uncomfortable sometimes. Be grateful for the journey that they brought you on, that they continue to carry you on. And just know that at any time, these anchors can be used to bring you back to the moment, to help ground you, to help you begin again. Now for the last part of this evening's session. I'm going to do a festive reading, and there's two choices I'd invite you to consider for this. Either follow the story in the words and feel the meaning that you identify. Or if you prefer, perhaps use it as an opportunity to be mindful to the pure experience and sound and tone itself, letting the words dissolve into simple sound waves and simple energy. Good King Wenceslas looked out on the feast of Stephen, when the snow lay round about, and deep and crisp and even. And brightly shone the moon that night, though the frost was cruel, when a poor man came in sight, gathering winter fuel. Hither, page, and stand by me, if thou know'st it, telling. Yonder peasant, who is he? Where and what his dwelling? Sire, he lives a good league hence, underneath the mountain, right against the forest fence, by St. Agnes' fountain. Bring me flesh and bring me wine, bring me pine logs hither. Thou and I shall see him dine, when we bear them thither. Page and monarch, forth they went together. Through the rude wind's wild laments, and the bitter weather. Sire, the night is darker now, and the wind blows stronger. Fails my heart, I know not how, I can go no longer. Mark my footsteps, good my page, tread thou in them boldly. Thou shalt find the winter's rage freeze thy blood less coldly. In his master's step he trod, where the snow lay dinted. Heat was in the very sod, which the saint had printed. Therefore, true of heart, be sure, wealth or rank possessing, ye who now will bring kindness, shall yourselves find blessing. Thank you. So just take a moment now to allow your senses to open back to the room that you're in. Aware of sounds around you and sensations, any smells or tastes. Whenever you're ready, just gently open your eyes and take time to come back to the world.